Sentencing for a Huntingburg woman charged with animal neglect has now been handed down. More on that. Plus, a local hospital executive is honored by the Boy Scouts' Buffalo Trace Council, and Purdue Extension educator Jan Dugan is tonight's guest on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. The sentence for a Huntingburg woman accused of keeping nearly 40 dogs in poor living conditions has now been handed down. Earlier this week, 66-year-old Mary Birch took a plea agreement in this case. Huntingburg Police Detective Sergeant Christian Gogol tells 18 News that Birch will serve 5 years of probation under the agreement, which was done through DuBois Circuit Court. She will also have to pay restitution to the DuBois County Humane Society along with veterinary clinics in Huntingburg and Jasper for the cost of caring for dogs that were taken from her home. Gogol says that dollar amount is still to be determined, though the city of Huntingburg will take part in that decision. Additionally, Gogol says Birch will not be allowed to own any vertebrate animals as part of the agreement. Gogol says this plea agreement allows all parties to move forward.
The 5 years of probation, I feel, is a fair sentence. With her being on probation, that allows us to, if any other complaints come in after the fact, if she does still have her home, we can check on her to make sure that she does not have any vertebrate animals. That is part of her plea agreement.
In the end, Gogol says the importance of folks reporting animal control concerns cannot be overstated.
We just want to let everyone know that if they do see any animals abused or neglected, give us a call. I know all the area of local law enforcement, we all strive to do the best for people and the animals and all the things in the county.
Now, Birch had originally faced 37 misdemeanor charges for animal cruelty. The plea agreement dismissed all but 5 of them, thus the 5 years of probation. Gogol, along with several other county officials, searched Birch's North Washington Street home back in late April after getting calls from the DuBois County Animal Control Team. 37 dogs in all were taken off of Birch's property. 9 of those dogs had passed away. The rest were taken by the DuBois County Humane Society and the Animal Control Team. Many of the dogs have since been adopted by other families. Back in August, the Huntingburg Board of Public Works voted to uphold a demolition order for Birch's house based on the condition of it. Birch is currently appealing that order in court. Huntingburg police were kept busy with a pair of domestic incidents overnight. Just before 9:50 last night, police were called to an apartment in the 100 block of East 17th Street for the first incident. When they arrived, officers found 29-year-old Ashley DuPont of Huntingburg engaged in a verbal argument with a man. Further investigation found that the two had gotten into a physical altercation. Police say the evidence led to the arrest of 29-year-old Corey Brown, also of Huntingburg, on domestic battery and strangulation charges. Brown was lodged in the DuBois County Security Center. Then, just before 11 p.m., Huntingburg officers were called to a home in the 200 block of East 5th Street for a reported incident. When they arrived, police found that 33-year-old Catherine Gutierrez had been battered and suffered facial injuries. Officers also discovered that children were present at the time of the incident. Officers then found 36-year-old Hector Gutierrez outside the residence and took him into custody. He was booked into the DuBois County Security Center on a level 6 felony for domestic battery in the presence of children. Indiana State Police, DuBois County Sheriff's deputies, and Rescue Unit 230 also assisted. The Buffalo Trace Council's Lincoln Heritage District has presented this year's Distinguished Citizen Award. Ray Snowden was honored last night as the 22nd recipient of the local Boy Scout Award. Snowden is the president and chief executive officer of Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center, a role he has held since 1999. Last year, Snowden was named as board chairperson. Snowden says the award means a lot to him. He says serving the community is something that he has always enjoyed doing.
For me, in terms of the community, is everything, and that's what I live for. I love this community, and I love being involved as I can to make our community better. And I look at scouting as just one of the premier examples of that. If there's anything I can do to advance scouting, it's hard-pressed to find another organization that has done more for developing our youth in scouting. So anything I can do to advance it, I will.
Snowden is currently a board member for German American Bank, the Indiana Hospital Association, and the Vincennes University Jasper Campus Foundation, among others. He also serves on the Jasper Redevelopment Commission. Some of his past roles include past president of the Southwestern Indiana Hospital Association District and past board member for both the Patoka Valley Healthcare Cooperative and Du Bois Strong. John Harding is a scout executive for the Buffalo Trace Council. He says several things made Snowden the right choice for this year's award.
Ray is a gentleman, and he is a strong business leader. He is respected by his peers. He's respected by everybody in this community. He was without a doubt, he was a unanimous choice, and when the committee considered him and looked at him for his leadership and what he's provided to this area.
Now, Snowden is set to be even more involved in the community in the future. He was recently chosen to be vice chair of the new Medical Education and Research Partners, or MERP board. That board is currently overseeing development of a new multi-institutional health science, education, and research campus. That new campus will be anchored by the new IU School of Medicine's Evansville campus. It will also partner with the University of Southern Indiana, the University of Evansville, Ivy Tech Community College, and 4 regional hospitals. Now, a crowd of more than 380 people were on hand for last night's event. The keynote speech was delivered by Radius Indiana's CEO Becky Skillman. Skillman says the values taught in Boy Scouts are still very much in demand.
Each day it becomes increasingly important to instill those values of character, courage, being principled, and being groomed for leadership skills. You know, the entire world craves leadership, and if we don't train our boys to lead, who will do it?
Last night's ceremony had many local sponsors. It was presented by German American Bank, Jasper Engines and Transmissions, Best Home Furnishings, and Wabash Valley Produce. The Indiana Council for Continuing Education has recognized a Vincennes University Jasper campus staff member for her work. Stephanie Crockett was honored with the organization's Support Staff Member of the Year award. Crockett serves as secretary for the VUJC Continuing Education Department. Now, this annual award is given to an hourly paid support staff employee of a continuing education unit in an ICCE member institution who has provided outstanding service to continuing education instructors, administrators, or students. Nominees have to show a deep commitment to serving the continuing education mission. A Jasper resident, Crockett has worked for VU since 2008. She also works with the Center for Technology, Innovation, and Manufacturing. Crockett will receive her award at the annual state meeting in Indianapolis next Wednesday. 3 scholarship winners from the recently held Westgate at Crane College Fair have now been announced. This year's college fair attracted Big Ten colleges and almost 800 regional high school students to the Westgate Academy Conferencing and Training Center. The fair took place Monday afternoon. Now, as mentioned, 3 scholarship winners have been named from that event. 2 of those were $500 scholarships. The winners of those were Logan Albright of Shoals Junior-Senior High School for his essay, Demining the World. The other $500 winner was Cecilia Craig of Bloomfield High School for her essay, Purifying Water Using Solar Energy. The grand prize winner was Blakely Heaton of Bloomfield High School. She received a $1,000 scholarship for her essay titled Transferring Energy to Make Clean Water Possible Everywhere. Now, this year marked the 2nd year of the college fair and the first time that scholarships were offered. Organizer Melissa Pittman says she was pleased with this year's student turnout. Pittman says next May, the Running for Our Future 5K event associated with the college fair should continue, thus creating more scholarship opportunities for next year's college fair. Former Democratic U.S. Representative Brad Ellsworth says he won't enter the Evansville mayor's race next year, even though he recently moved to the city. Ellsworth says his family's move from their Vanderburgh County property was about downsizing, not about political ambitions. No Democratic candidates have emerged yet to challenge Republican Mayor Lloyd Winnecke. Winnecke will be seeking a 2nd term coming up in next year's election. Now, Ellsworth represented Southwestern Indiana's 8th District for 4 years prior to his unsuccessful campaign against Republican Dan Coates for a U.S. Senate seat back in 2010. The 56-year-old Ellsworth says he enjoys his current job as an executive with Vectren Energy and doesn't have plans to run for political office again. Finally this evening, the Indiana Attorney General's office estimates about 460,000 state residents could be eligible for refunds from AT&T under the national settlement of a lawsuit over unfair cell phone charges. Indiana joined 49 other states, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Communications Commission in reaching the $105 million deal with the company. Officials say AT&T billed millions of customers for charges from third-party companies for services customers never asked to receive or were duped into subscribing to, things like horoscope texts or flirting tips. The fees were usually around $9.99 a month and not easy for customers to find on their bills. AT&T says it discontinued third-party billing last year for such premium short messaging services. More information on the issue is available by going to ftc.gov/ATT or by calling 1-877-819-9692. All right, coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform with Jan Dugan. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.